เรามีไม่ต้องแบ็กกราวด์โอเคเปิดอันนี้ด้วยไหมไหนวะโอเคเปิดไม่ใช่เราเปิดวิดีโอตรงนี้เปิดในตรงนี้ตรงกันโอเคโอเคสวัสดีค่ะอาจารย์
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะพอดีวันนี้อาจารย์กบติดสอนนิดนึงค่ะอาจารย์อาจจะเข้ามาช้าแต่ว่าก็เลยเดี๋ยวจะให้เจนแนะนำผอก่อนนะคะผออะไร
สักค่ะ
ฉันรู้สึกเคยเราเคยเจอกันตอนไทก้านะคะจำ
ใช่
ได้
ค่ะปีที่แล้ว
ใช่ค่ะใช่ค่ะค่ะเดี๋ยวนักเรียนยังน่าจะแบบช้าหน่อยค่ะเดี๋ยวรอแป๊บหนึ่งสัก5 นาทีไหมคะได้นะคะ Good afternoon everyone and good morning uh for the countries is not in Asia and maybe some good evening. I don't know. Yeah. So actually is the time, but uh it's still just a few people here and then maybe we can wait a few more minutes. What about 5 more minutes and then we will start. Is okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, just saw the message that good afternoon from Vietnam and yes. Good morning, the Nigerian student. So rest. Okay, we wait for a few more minutes, and then in briefly, as you might look at the course schedule. Yeah, today will be the guest lecturer from the the Department of Climate Change and Environment. Yeah. Then let's see what going to be today. Okay. But we will wait for a few more minutes, okay? It's okay for Huh? Ah, okay. Okay. So now we have how many participants? Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, okay. I think yeah, we should start, and then because our get lecturer, she's ready to give you some the interesting topic today. Let me introduce the guest lecturer for today. She will be she's is Miss Chanutsakul Supirak. She's the Director of Policy and Planning Subdivision from the Department of Climate Change and Environment. And today she'll talk, as you might see from the course outline, she will talk about the policy context for forest-based climate change mitigation and adaptation. So if the directors, Chanutsakul, ready, I will give you the floor. Okay. Yeah, please. Okay, share me.
University to inviting me to be a speaker today. Good afternoon, everyone. Getting from Bangkok, Thailand. I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Chanutsakul Supirak. I'm Director of Policy and Plan Section under the Division of Strategy and International Cooperation at the Department of Climate Change and Environment, or you can call our office name in short, like DCCE. Today I will be speak on the topic policies context for forest-based climate change mitigation and adaptation from international and regional levels. This is an important topic, especially as the world faces climate change while struggling to manage natural resources sustainably. Climate policies and targets are closely connected to building resilience in agriculture and the environment. Smart land and water management solutions help translate climate goals into action. Protecting ecosystem, ensuring food security, and driving sustainable development. Today, I will briefly share examples of policies and country experiences to all of you. To our discussion today. Here is the outline of my presentation. I will start by looking at the current climate situation to set the context. Then I will move on the global trends and policy direction to see how the world is responding. After that, I will explore Thailand's climate change policy and actions, highlighting national efforts and priorities. And next, I will speak on the implementation mechanism, how this policy are being put into practices. And I will wrap up with some thought on the next step. I hope this gives you a clear picture of what we will covering today. The reality is alarming between 2011 and 2020. The global surface temperature increased by 1.1 degrees Celsius compared to the period between 1950 and 1900. This makes it the warmest multi-century in over 100,000 years. Human activity is the main driver of this warming, especially the release of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Burning fossil fuel is the biggest cause of carbon dioxide emissions. This troubling data comes from the IPCC AR16 tested report published in 2023. I will go through this part quickly just to highlight what we are already seeing in the real world. The graph shows steady rise in global mean temperature from 1850s to 2024, with a sharp acceleration in recent decades. We are seeing the headline massive wildfires, severe floods, and even unusual snowstorm in place. Snow in some areas, and we've seen rainfall. All of this is part of what scientists are now calling a boiling world. A world where the climate crisis is no longer a major concern, but something we are living through. Every part of us. This slide highlights why limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius rather than 2 degrees Celsius is critical, important. Even a half degree Celsius leads to substantially higher risk for ecosystem, biodiversity, and people. At 1.5 degrees Celsius, about 4% of vertebrates, 8% of plants, and 6% of insects are projected to lose at least half of their geographic range. At 2 degrees Celsius, this impact intensifies dropping for vertebrates and plants and tripping for insects, threatening ecosystem stability and food chain. The contrast is most likely for coral reefs, losses of 70 to 90% at 1.5 degrees Celsius, rising to almost 99% at 2 degrees Celsius, pushing reef close to collapse. Human reefs also rise sharply. Exposure to surf heat waves increased from 14% of the global population at 1.5 degrees Celsius to 37% at 2 degrees Celsius, while Arctic ice-free summers become 10 times more frequent. Overall, this shows that every fraction of a degree matters, and limiting warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius significantly reduce risk to nature, food security, and human well-being. Climate change is not just about the environment anymore. It's now seen as one of the biggest global risk drivers. This is a critical message for policymakers. According to the World Economic Forum Global Risk Report 2026 of this year, extreme weather events are already among the most severe global risks in the short term and are projected to become the number one global risk in the long term. This ranking signals that climate change is no longer a future or sector-specific issue, but are systemic risks that will shape economic stability, social cohesion, and national security. Importantly, climate risks act as a risk multiplier, amplifier, biodiversity loss, major resource shortage, inequality, and social intention over time. From the policy perspective, this underscores the need to integrate climate adaptation and resilience into core development and risk management frameworks rather than treating them as standalone environmental issues. It also reinforces the importance of early investment in climate resilient infrastructure, ecosystem-based solution, and disaster risk reduction, which are more cost-effective than responding to escalating climate impacts in the future. The method is clear. Managing extreme weather risks is central to managing long-term global stability and sustainable development. And this slide is climate risk index. In this year, ranked countries based on their exposure and vulnerability to extreme weather events. It showed that climate risks are unevenly distributed, with many developing and climate vulnerable countries facing the greatest impact. For Thailand, the trend is particularly concerning. Thailand has lightened sharply from 72nd place in 2022 to 17th place in 2024, reflecting a significant increase in vulnerability to floods, heat waves, storm, and drought. This rapid escalation underscore that climate change is no longer a distant or gradual risk, but an accelerating systemic challenge affecting life, livelihood, and economic stability. From a policy perspective, this ranking underscores the urgency of scaling up climate adaptation and resilient effort, including climate resilient infrastructure, improved disaster risk management, and nature-based solutions such as forest and ecosystem restoration. It also points to the importance of integrating climate risk into national development plan, public investment decisions, and fiscal and financial framework. The climate risk index sends a clear signal for Thailand's strengthening resilience to extreme weather is not optional. It is central to sustainable development and long-term national stability. And the next session, the explaining climate crisis. There's a strong global push for more ambitious climate action. Now we look at the global trend and policy direction. For the UNFCCC, it has been the main platform for international climate negotiation. It was signed back in 1992, ratified by Thailand in 1994, and officially came into force in 1995. Under the UNFCCC, countries are divided into two groups: Annex 1 country, mostly developed nations, and non-Annex 1 country, which are developing countries like Thailand. The Kyoto Protocol adopted under the UNFCCC gives the developed country binding targets to cut emission by 5% by 2012 in the first commitment period. And the next commitment period, the target of the developed country need to reduce the greenhouse gas by 18% by 2020. The mechanism like emission trading and the green development mechanism or CDM were introduced to help to meet this target. Thailand, as an non-Annex 1 country, is part of the G77 plus China group. Then came the Paris Agreement, which was ratified in 2015 and came into force in 2016. Its goal is to limit the global temperature rise to well below 2 degrees Celsius, ideally 1.5 degrees Celsius, to strengthen adaptation and to redirect finance toward low carbon climate resilience development. The Paris Agreement requires both developing and developed country to reduce their greenhouse gas emission. It is a multilateral agreement that was signed in 2016. Currently, around 197 UNFCCC members have signed it. The goal of the Paris Agreement is to curtail the rise of global temperature this century below 2 degrees Celsius, above pre-industry level, and also pursue efforts to limit the increase to 1.5 degrees Celsius. The nationally determined contributions refer to the contribution that need to be done by each country to achieve the overall global goal. Further, the contributions need to be reported every 5 years to UNFCCC. Most importantly, the goal is to make sure that our countries have access to technical expertise and financial capability to meet the climate challenges. This slide summarizes the whole pillar of the UNFCCC and the Paris Agreement that adopted at COP21 in 2015. Which together provide the global framework for climate action. There are three interlinked pillars: mitigation, adaptation, and financial support for implementation. The first one is the mitigation, focused on limiting the rise in global average temperature to well below 2 degrees Celsius, while pursuing efforts to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. This is operationalized through the NDC and long-term strategy, or LTLF. Mitigation is supported by a transparent report and review mechanism and by international cooperation under the Article 6, including carbon markets and non-market approaches. And the second, adaptation, aims to enhance adaptive capacity and resilience to climate impacts, while ensuring sustainable development and food security. Under the Paris Agreement, the global goal on adaptation provides a common framework that encourages countries to assess their progress under agreed indicators. Adaptation actions and key sectors, including water resources, agriculture and food security, public health, infrastructure, human settlement, natural resource management, tourism, and cultural heritage. The third is about the financial mechanism. They are essential to enable implementation. Developed countries have committed to providing finance support to developing countries, while other actors, including the private sectors, and encouraged to contribute voluntarily. Key multilateral funds such as the Clean Climate Fund and the Global Environment Facility play a central role in channeling climate finance to support both mitigation and adaptation actions. That means the effective climate action required integrated efforts across mitigation, adaptation, and finance, working together to deliver resilience and sustainable development outcomes. And next, under the UNFCCC, the main decision-making forum is the Conference of the Party of COP, which is held every year. This is where countries come together to negotiate and make key decisions on how to move global climate action forward. Let's take a look at how the recent COPs have shaped into climate policy. From COP26 in Glasgow in 2021, countries raised their greenhouse gas reduction targets. Thailand also made big announcements aiming for carbon neutrality by 2050 and net zero greenhouse gas emission by 2065. There was also a renewed push to mobilize $100 billion per year in climate finance by 2025. And the next COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh in 2022, this COP focused more on adaptation. Is a result in setting global adaptation goals, and for the first time agreed to establish loss and damage fund to support vulnerable countries affected by climate impacts. And next, in UAE, in COP28 in the year 2023, a major milestone was the global stocktake, which assessed how countries are doing on their climate pledges. There was a strong focus on accelerating the energy transition, aiming for a 43% reduction in global emissions by 2030, compared with the 2019 levels, and on strengthening the capacity of developing countries to deliver on their NDC 3.0 targets. And next, COP29 in Baku last 2 years, attention moved firmly to scaling up climate finance and operationalize mechanisms. This includes the negotiation on a new collective quantified goal on climate finance, the start of forest and land-related mechanism project under Article 6 carbon markets, and the development of adaptation indicators under the UAE Berlin Work Program. Look ahead at COP30 in Berlin. The agenda is clearly about delivery at scale. The focus is on the Baku to Berlin roadmap, mobilizing up $1.3 trillion by 2035, improving access to international funds, enhancing transparency and inclusiveness, and advancing the global goal on adaptation through every indicator. And next slide. This is the message capture the global policy signal towards COP30. As President Lula stated, COP30 is in Belém will be the COP of the truth, the moment when countries must prove that their climate commitments are real, without completing and strengthening NDC's ambition remains rhetoric, not action. COP30 before Mars turning point from promises to accountability and from plans to delivery. And this slide is the summary, the key political outcome expected from COP30 in Belém, often referred to as the Belém political package. First, COP30 marks the formal submission of the NDC 3.0, which is critical for aligning national commitment with the 1.5 degrees Celsius pathway and responding to the outcome of the global stocktake. And second, COP30 advanced debates on the transition away from fossil fuel, moving the discussion from high-level political signals toward more concrete implementation pathways while recognizing different national circumstances. And third one is the major pillar of the Belém package is advancing climate finance mechanism. This includes the discussion on the implementation of finance obligation under the Article 9.1 of the Paris Agreement, concerns related to unilateral trade measures, and the role of the NDC synthetic report in guiding ambition, transparency, and reporting under Article 13 were also key elements of this package. And fourth, COP30 delivered progress on adaptation indicators, help operationalize the global goal on adaptation of GGA by translating it into measurable and reportable frameworks. And finally, the Fund for Responding to Loss and Damage, or FRLD Fund, operational life framework was further clarified, strengthening arrangement to address loss and damage in vulnerable countries. This element reflects a clear political shift at COP30 by setting the direction for global climate action in the post-2030 period. Beyond the UNFCCC, new trade rules are turning climate policy into market requirements. The EU carbon border adjustment mechanism will impose carbon costs on high emission imports, directly affecting Thai exporter in sectors like steel, cement, and aluminum from 2026 or this year. At the same time, the EU deforestation regulation requires proof the products such as rubber, palm oil, and wood are deforestation free with full traceability. This rule signals a clear shift. Climate action is no longer voluntary. It is become a condition for access to the global market. And also the United States remain key uncertainty in global climate policy. At the federal level, has with withdrawals from the Paris Agreement contrast with strong climate action at the state level, where many states have set ambitious emission reduction targets. The Inflation Reduction Act is accelerate clean energy deployment, even as further federal priorities may shift toward economic growth and fossil fuels. U.S. climate action is fragmented but continues to move forward and through state and the private sector. This concludes the current climate change landscape, global trends, and emerging policy direction. We have seen the urgency of the climate crisis and how countries are responding, not only through international agreement, but through trade-related environmental regulation that are shaping the future of global commerce. I will continue to the next session, focus on Thailand's national context and policy responses to climate change. We look at key policy challenges and opportunities for Thai stakeholders in adapting to the changing global landscape. Thailand climate change policy operates on multiple levels, forming a cascading structure that connects national vision to on-the-ground action. Thailand has placed climate change on its national agenda and take proactive steps to address this urgent threat. Climate change has been integrated and embedded into development policies, strategies, and plans across sectors and at all levels. Climate change has been incorporated into Thailand National Economic and Social Development Plan since 2007. Climate change is currently addressed at the highest policy level under the National Strategy 2018 to 2037 to ensure long-term continuity of sustainable low-carbon development. The Office of the National Economic and Social Development Board, Prime Minister's Office, categorized the level of plans in my country into 3 levels, which it linkage. The levels of the plan as endorsed by the Cabinet in December 2017. The first level actually is long-term national development goals. It should be our first national 20-year strategy with the vision that Thailand will become a developed country with security, prosperity, and sustainability in accordance with sufficiency economy philosophy, and will ensure happiness and well-being for all Thais by 2037. The second and third level could be the development framework for other level of plans. This figure, the second level plan includes master plan under the national strategy, national reform plan that mentioned the climate change law. This is in a process, and greenhouse gas inventory development, and also the national economic and social development plan or the third version, 13 version, and the draft 14 national economic and development plan is at the beginning of drafting step. And the third level could be a ministerial 5-year plan, that specific plan on the climate change issue, for example, climate change master plan or NDC roadmap, DCCE model plan, and national energy plan framework. This level 3 serves as the foundation for practical implementation at both the ministerial and local levels across the country. This ensures the policy directive are effectively transformed into actionable projects that resonate with specific regional contexts. Ultimately, our work plan are systematically aligned to currently unified approach toward achieving the national climate goal. And the next one is this slide illustrates the Thailand's preparation and approval process for its key climate policy instruments like long-term strategy or LTLAs, NDC target, and the National Adaptation Plan on that, which follow by the structure multi-level and participatory approach. The process begins with the National Working Group on the mitigation and adaptation, where technical input for the LTLAs or NDC or NAP are developed through focus, expert discussions, and focus group meetings. These drafts are reviewed by the Committee on Climate Change Policy and Planning before being elevated to the National Committee on Climate Change Policy or NCCC. Following this, the documents are submitted to the cabinet level approval to ensure alignment with national development priorities. Throughout the process, national consultations are conducted with the stakeholders, including government agencies, the private sector, academia, civil society, international organizations, experts, and the media to strengthen inclusiveness and the readiness for implementation. Once approval, the Ministry of the Natural Resources and Environment through the Department of Climate Change and Environment of the DCCE as Thailand National Focal Point formally submit the document to the UNFCCC. This process ensures that Thailand climate strategy are evidence-based, nationally owned, and fully aligned with international climate commitments. And this is Thailand Master Plan on Climate Change that approved by the Cabinet on 14 July in 2015, envision that the Thailand is resilient to the impact of climate change. The plan is structured around three main strategic pillars. The first one is about the adaptation to climate change impact. The goal is to enhance resilience across key sectors, including water management, agriculture and food security, tourism, public health, national resource and management, human settlement and security. And the second one is about the greenhouse gas reduction and low carbon development. This pillar proposes the climate mitigation through sectoral actions in power sector, transportation, industrial process, energy use in building, waste management, agriculture, forestry, a critical sector for carbon sink. And the third one is the capacity building for climate governance. This includes strengthening our system and tools for effective climate action, such as urban climate management, research and technology development, integration of local knowledge and public awareness, institutional mechanism for implementation, international cooperation and partnership. However, it has now been nearly 10 years since the plan was adopted. climate landscape have evolved significantly, making part of the plan outdated and indeed in need of the revision. Recognize this, DCCE is currently updating the master plan to reflect the Thailand new climate commitment, such as net zero 2050 and global goal on adaptation alignment. The update version is expected to finalize within this year. This slide is our draft climate change master plan for the revision version. And next, I will lead you to the mitigation, to the implementation mechanism, and I will divide into mitigation part and adaptation part. The first part, I will talk about the climate change mitigation. Before setting a goal or target, we need to understand our country's emission profile. Thailand is ranked 20 among global greenhouse gas emitter, around 1%. The energy sector is the biggest one, accounting for more than half of the greenhouse gas inventory. The land use change and forest sector is the carbon sink of around 108 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent. This is the information from the biennial transparency report, the first biennial transparency report that we submit to the UNFCCC in 2024. And the next is the slide that presents Thailand long-term. This is the emission trend in the land use change and forest sector. This part is about the removal. You will see the trend of the increasing net removal because the total removal exceeds the total emission. And this slide is the long-term decarbonization pathway from the current emission tracking to the net zero by 2050. Let me walk you through the key milestones and measures. Starting point, the greenhouse gas tracking from 2021 to 2022. In 2021, Thailand reported around 60 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent in reduction under the the NDC tracking system. And the next year, this is the increase to 65 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent, and then next 2023 the NDC tracking result increased to 75 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent. And then next at the 2025 we'll see the peak emission. Thailand's greenhouse gas emission are projected to peak at around 395 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent. At this stage, mitigation measure including promoting the hydraulic cement, expanding renewable energy, encouraging low methane rice cultivation, improving manual management system also implemented in this period. And the next one is 2030. By 2030 is the first NDC implementation result. We will see the outcome of the NDC, the first NDC target. we set the target as 30 to 40% reduction from the DAU level. Key action include shift to from ICE to EV and large scale manual management and continue renewable deployment. And the next round of the NDC is 2035. This is the second NDC on recall, the NDC 3.0. NDC 2.0 has raised ambition to be an absolute emission reduction target. And also reforestation is highlighted as a major carbon removal strategy in this period. I will go through the detail after this. And for the NDC 3.0, we submit to the UN to receive by November last year. And 2040 in the next round of the NDC. In this period, the CCS or BECCS technology will introduce to implement to reduce the industrial and energy-related emissions. And the next round of the NDC or NDC, the fourth NDC in 2045, the green hydrogen technology is introduced to heavy industry and transport sector. And the phase-out coal will be operated in this period in the electricity generation. And the last year that we aim to achieve the net zero emission by 2050. This includes a significant shift to renewables and technology deployment plans for forestry-based carbon removal. The forestry sector will play a critical role by balancing 120 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent in emission with the 120 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent in removal, particularly in the net zero phase. It also reflects a commitment to a just transition, ensuring a fair, inclusive, and equitable shift to the greener economy. At the bottom section, NDC Action Plan from 2021 to 2030. This is explain that Thailand's domestic efforts are expected to reduce around 186 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent, with an additional 35.7 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent reduction expected from the international support. The sectoral breakdown shows the highlight contribution from energy sectors around 124 or 25 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent, and transport sector around 46 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent. IPPU, waste, and agriculture sector contribute smaller chunks. There's also a note about Article 6 of the Paris Agreement, where no more than 3% of the carbon credit can be transferred, ensuring that national contributions remain substantial. Overall, this pathway reflects the Thailand's multi-decade commitment to climate action, linking mitigation, technology, finance, and land solution toward a better, cleaner future. The previous slide showed you how to make the net zero by 2050, and the forest sector will play a big role in this carbon sink, more than 100 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent. This is the explanation where the potential of the carbon sink comes from the national strategy for the next 20 years clearly recognize the immense potential of forests as a carbon sink, aiming for natural forests, economic forests, and green space to cover around 55% of the country's area. This ambitious goal is projected to achieve net greenhouse gas removal of approximately 120 million tons carbon dioxide equivalents. Basically, our existing natural forests already cover 130 million lives in Thai units, representing 35% of the country, where with plans to increase this by another 11 million lives. Complementing these, economic forests currently cover about 48.5 million lives, or 15% of the country's area, and are targeted to expand by an additional around 16 million lives. Furthermore, increasing green space in urban and rural areas by 3 million lives will contribute another 16 million lives, accounting for 5% of the total. This comprehensive strategy for our 323 million lives of forest and green area is fundamentally crucial for Thailand to achieve its carbon neutrality and net zero emission target by enhancing the natural carbon absorption capacity. A crucial strategy involves significantly increasing our carbon sinks. This effort primarily focus on large-scale reforestation, encompassing both natural and economic forests across the country. In 2022 alone, the public sector actively participated in reforesting approximately 600,000 rice, demonstrating substantial national effort. To facilitate these initiatives, clear regulations have been issued by key departments governing carbon credit sharing for planting and maintaining forests. Developers of the tier project, for instance, benefit from 90% share of the generated carbon credit, incentivize private sector engagement. These comprehensive actions are vital for enhancing Thailand's national capacity to absorb the greenhouse gases, supporting our long-term climate goals. Thailand's journey in greenhouse gas reduction has evolved over time. We start by sending our nationally appropriate mitigation action on 2014, with a target to reduce the greenhouse gas emission from 7 to 20% from the BAU in just only in the energy and transport sector by 2020. That is the pre-2020 period. And now we successfully achieved this target, reducing greenhouse gas emission beyond the set goal. Then come our NDC under the Paris Agreement. Our first NDC was proposed on in 2015, target, as I mentioned before, 20 to 25% from the AU in our economic sector by 2030. We have been revised the NDC 2 times, and the second time of the revision in 2022 increase our ambition target to 30 to 40% and up to 40% with the international support. And also our long-term strategy, the LT-less aim to be net zero in 2050. These are submitted to the UNFCCC. The NDC target are submitted to the UNFCCC every 5 years. And also this one, I will show you the NDC action plan on mitigation for the first period of NDC from 2021 to 2030, which is a crucial part for our nation's commitment to combating the climate change. By 2030, our NDC aim for greenhouse gas emission reduction up to 40% with international support. And looking further ahead, we have the vision to achieve carbon neutrality by 2020 and to be a net zero by 2065 year. This is ambitious trajectory is aligned with the global goal of limiting warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius to ensure climate resilience. This vision is not just a standalone target. It's deeply integrated with Thailand overarching national strategies. Our NDC action plan is linked to national strategy as well, and also the 30 National Economic and Social Development Plan and our National Security Policy and Plan. This multi-faceted approach ensure the climate action is woven into the fabric of our national development agenda. To achieve this ambitious target, our strategy is built upon 5 key development guidelines. These guidelines cover everything from driving and monitoring our reduction effort, enhancing efficiency through various mechanisms, strengthening capacity across public and private sectors, and prepare for long-term goals and for fostering international cooperation to boost our emission reduction effort. Robust monitoring and evaluation of M&E is vital for accountability. The plan includes clear M&E guidance reports and are submitted to the M&E committee annually. The Department of Climate Change submits biannual transparency report to the UNFCCC, and our performance is publicly disseminated every year. This ensures transparency and progress tracking. Finally, the action plan identifies several flagship projects that are critical for achieving our goals. These include groundbreaking initiatives like the CCS pilot project for carbon capture and storage, promoting the solar rooftop on both household and government buildings, and implementing an alternate wet and dry or AWD method for rice farming to reduce the methane project, and driving energy efficiency across infrastructure project. We also focus on ESCO initiative in the government sector, promote community forest project, enhance the public transport and infrastructure, and leverage promote sensing and AI for the land use chain and forestry sector to better manage our land and forest carbon sink. In essential, Thailand NDC action plan for 2021 to 2030 is a comprehensive roadmap backed by clear target, integrated policies, strategic guideline, robust monitoring, and impactful flagship projects, all working toward a sustainable low carbon future for our nation. And this is the measure under action plan in 2022 to 2030. The specific measure in energy sector, for example, energy conservation and increasing the efficiency of electricity production, developing renewable energy, carbon capture projects. In transport sector, the specific measure, for example, promote the use of EVs, increase the efficiency of the vehicle, develop urban transportation system, and also promote the use of hydrogen fuel. And IPPU, we also have the measures to promote the use of hydraulic cement and replacement of substitution of the refrigerant. In waste management, we also have the waste to energy, utilization of landfill gas, and production of biogas from industrial wastewater. In agriculture, we have the measure on livestock waste management, minimize the use of chemical fertilizer, and the alternate wet and dry method, or AWD, for rice farming. These measures specifically helps reduce methane emission from the live paddies. And this slide is the summarized Thailand climate change mitigation action and NDC tracking progress in 2023. This is the last one that we have the checking result. We aim for a total reduction of the 2022 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent. These come from domestic implementation contributing around 33.3%, and international support contributing for 6.7%, with 3 potentially from Article 6.2 mechanism as well. In terms of NDC tracking progress in 2023, we achieved a mitigation outcome of 75.8 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent. The energy sector accounts for the largest share at around 60 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent, or 80% of total, followed by agriculture around 5%, waste 10%, and IPPU 1%, and also the next one is transport sector 0.6%. This shows that while energy is largest contributor to reduce how other sectors like agriculture also play a role. when assessing our progress, it's crucial to understand that the available greenhouse gas reduction data is typically on the 2-year retrospect basis. Evolution of Thailand NDC illustrates a significant shift in Thailand climate commitment, moving from the current framework NDC 2.0 toward more ambitious target for NDC 3.0. For NDC 2.0 on the left-hand side, the current commitment, this phase focus on greenhouse gas emission reduction target of 40% by 2030. The reduction is measured against a business as usual or BAU scenario. The implementation strategy relies heavily on domestic effort or 30% with an additional 10% contingent in international support. It covers an economy-wide scope, but exclude the land use chain and forestry sector. And the right-hand side, NDC 3.0, the enhanced commitment by 2035. The next level represents a shift toward absolute emission reduction. The key highlight include the specific quantity like reduction target of 109 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent relative to the 2019 this year levels. And also we increase our ambition for the domestic implementation responsibility jump to 70%, showing a stronger national commitment. And the science-based, the goal of keeping net emission under 152 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent is specifically designed to align with the global 1.5 degree Celsius pathway. And also we also have the strategic support. Unlike the previous version, NDC 3.0 also incorporate an investment plan to ensure financial feasibility. This is our NDC 3.0. Thailand aims to reduce its greenhouse gas emission in 2035 from its 2019 levels, which is consistent with a reduction of 47% compared to the net emission in 2019 level. This target has been established in line with toward the achievement of net zero emission by 2050. We will submit the target proposal or the investment plan for getting the support. The proportion is about 70% of greenhouse gas emission reduction is domestic implementation and another 30% is international support. That's all for the mitigation actions. And next is about the climate change adaptation component. Thailand has developed the National Adaptation Plan with aim to minimize risks and improve resilience of the country to adverse impact of climate change in accordance with the sufficient economy philosophy and sustainable development pathway. We have identified the measures in key sector as a framework for guiding adaptation effort in water management, agriculture, and food security, tourism, public health, national resources management, and human Adaptation is equally crucial for our resilience. Thailand National Adaptation Plan on NAP has vision Thailand is resilient and adapt to the impact of the climate change to achieve the sustainable development. The NAP provides a framework and guideline for the related agency to be able to integrate climate adaptation issues into sectoral plans and strategy. It covers 6 key sectors for adaptations, as I mentioned earlier. And the NAP involves analyzing sector-specific gaps, developing targets, and implementing various projects. Globally, our adaptation efforts are aligned with the targets such as achieving multi-early warning system by 2027 and ensuring that by 2030, countries have in place the National Adaptation Plan. Thailand NAP is designed to contribute to this global goal by focus on impact, vulnerability, and risk assessment, and by establishing robust monitoring and evaluation system. And Thailand's map was submitted to the UNFCCC on 11 April last year. Our map aligns with the global adaptation goals. For instance, the global goal on adaptation by 2027 and to improve infrastructure and human settlements and cultural heritage protection. And by 2030, the global goal is to have a place country-driven and implement their national adaptation plans, including impact, vulnerability, and risk assessment, and establish system for monitoring, evaluation, and learning. Thailand's adaptation action plan is being developed by consolidated activities, projects, and programs from related agencies. This involves analysis of sector-specific gaps and needs, develop sectoral targets and indicators, and disseminating adaptation implementation in pilot areas. We are also determining a national indicator for tracking, aligning existing national indicator with global indicators that must be reported under the application. And also the NAP document itself is structured into several chapters over various aspects. And it's like chapter 1 is like national context, socioeconomic circumstance, and climate trend. The chapter 2 is about the conceptual framework and preparation process, and also institutional arrangement and effort to strengthen the process. And the chapter 3, the objectives, vision, mission, goals, and time frame of the Thailand NAS. Chapter 4 talk about the specific sectoral goals, adaptation guidelines by sector, and cross-cutting issue. And the last one is the need support that Thailand need the support to implement the NAP, adaptation monitoring and evaluation framework, and also mention to the adaptation reporting. You can access the full NAP document via the UNFCCC website as well. And I will go through details of 6 adaptation sector under the NAP, or we need to take a break or not. I'm not sure. Or we can continue. right? Okay, I will continue. You don't need to take a break. Okay, I will continue to the six adaptation sector under the map. The first sector is about the water management, target to increase water security and decrease losses and damage from water-related disaster. Measures are based on the principle of river basin management, with measures that align with with and are appropriated for local area-based management, including upstream, midstream, and downstream, and support mechanism. And the second one is about the agriculture and food security. The next one is agriculture and food security. We target to maintain productivity and food security amid climate change risks and impacts. Measures are based on the principle of categorizing the production system at risk, including cropland, livestock farm, fishery, and aquaculture with support mechanism. And next is the tourism sector. The target is strengthening capacity of the tourism sector toward the climate resilient and sustainable development. Measures are based on the principle of categorizing tourism destination, natural and man-made, and tourism activity as guideline for suitable measures in area-based management as well as supporting mechanism. And the next one is the public health sector. The target is to establish effective public health system to manage risk and reduce impact from climate change. Measures and are based on the principle of categorizing direct and indirect climate change related health risks in key disease. For example, respiratory, waterborne, heat-related illness from flood, drought, and impact from lack of water or food, focusing on health risks population and include prevention and support system. And the final two sector is the national resources management. The target is to sustainably manage biodiversity resources to respond to climate change impacts. Measures are based on the principle of categorizing the main ecosystem, terrestrial, wetland, marine, and coastal, as guidelines for suitable measures in area-based management, as well as supporting mechanism for natural resources management and biodiversity. This is include the vital role of the forest in biodiversity and ecosystem health. And the human settlement and security sector, the target is about the enhancing capacity of the individual communities and cities to adapt the climate change impact appropriately according to the local context. Measures are based on the principle of categorizing appropriate characteristic and level of urban or settlement development as guideline for suitable measures in area-based management, as well as supporting mechanism for the management of human settlement security. To effectively drive climate change adaptation action, The MOU was signed with the coordinating agency under the adaptation plan on 25 February last year. The Thailand action plans on adaptation involve cooperation between the Department of Climate Change and Environment and 6 main branch agencies. These agencies include the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment, Office of the National Water Resources, Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperative, Ministry of Tourism and Transport, Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Digital Economy and Society, and Ministry of Social and Development and Human Security. This cooperation aims to determine measures, projects, and activities for preparing for the impact of climate change in fiscal year of 2025 to 2026. And herefore is to create a risk map for climate change impacts by area. A crucial tool for adaptation is the Spatial Climate Change Risk Database System. The objective of this system is to be a central database for the country. It allows users to access maps and information such as climate projection, hazard map, and risk map of climate change impacts. This system helps in planning on issue in each area with risk, support policy decisions, and integrate them into the planning of the agencies, and serves as a channel for creating public awareness in a tangible and easy accessible manner. You can access it via the link provided on this slide. And this is the key. This is a key piece of legislation on strengthening Thailand climate action is the Climate Change Act. This is a draft. The act, we are working on drafting the act. The act aims to create a conducive environment by integrating government budget allocation to achieve goals, creating and developing investment environment, and developing economic and financial tools and mechanisms to stimulate investment, and also encourage private sector participation and implementation of measures according to the plan, establishing continuous follow-up and evaluation to continuously improve operations based on results. The Draft Climate Change Act includes significant economic measures and tools that are designed to promote investment to reduce greenhouse gases and create maximum value to downstream industry. They include climate fund with sources like allowance, revenue, tax revenue, and fees, levies. Carbon tax is a tax on products and activity that cause emission. And also the emission trading scheme, or ETS, is a system for trading greenhouse gas emission rates. The crediting mechanism or voluntary carbon credit mechanism like TIGO, and also the Article 6 is the international carbon credit mechanism, and the cross-border carbon adjustment mechanism or TICM, and mandatory corporate based greenhouse gas reporting, and also the carbon label and financial instruments like loan, venture capital, and incentive like tax. These two aim to incentivize reduction from area like fossil fuel vehicles, fossil fuel for electricity generation, and fossil fuel in industrial plants. Note that Thailand should have a framework for state budget allocation that considers action. Thailand is in the process of adopting Climate Change Act, as I mentioned earlier, which will serve as the principal legal mechanism to drive national climate actions. The Act is structured into various chapters under four main categories. The first is the policy and planning and greenhouse gas mitigation component, and also the climate change adaptation component, and the financial mechanism, which also include offense and penalties. Let's look at the some key section of the draft Climate Change Act. The section 1 is general one, ensure that the right of the people determines the participation of each sector, including the right to be informed, have access to information, express opinions, and be promoted in action on climate change. The section 1 is about the climate change action target. State that Thailand's climate change targets are consistent with international obligations. Each government agency is to set goals and plans in line with and integrate the goals with its own missions. This includes reducing greenhouse gases with the time frame and according to the NDC target, achieving the net zero one, adapting to build resilience and climate change. Section 3 is about the National Climate Change Policy Committee, focused on the integration of work between relevant agencies and the consideration and approval of secondary law, policy recommendations, measures, and operations. The second floor is established for the climate fund. This fund has the status of a legal entity and spend money to directly take action on climate change. Its money and assets under the fund come from various sources: income from the sale of greenhouse gas emission rights, fee from international carbon credit authorization, income generated from various measures or mechanisms, government subsidies, annual budget allocations, funds from penalties, and other sources. Section 5, the outline of the climate change master plan. That the plan serves as a long-term framework for country and is used as the policy framework. It encompasses Thailand National Adaptation Plan, Master Plan, long-term nationally determined contribution, and also the long-term strategy of Chile's. And the section 6 is about the greenhouse gas information. This section mandates preparing a national greenhouse gas inventory and submitting the data to a national report to UNFCCC. It also requires legal entities to report their greenhouse gas emissions. Both direct scope 1 and indirect scope 2 for energy purpose, scope 3 for other indirect emission upstream and downstream. This data is crucial for developing right allocation plans in the greenhouse gas emission trading system and for calculating the carbon footprint of organizations. Reporting can be based on different tiers of methodology. And the section 7 about the National Greenhouse Gas Reduction Action Plan. This section established the operational guidelines in line with the master plan. It defines policies and plans, consider capability and economic. The section 8 about the greenhouse gas emission right trading scheme or ETS. This is a compulsory mechanism to drive the transition to a low carbon economy and secure society. It provides for the definition of the allowance units, the right to emit the greenhouse gas, and will determine the allowance unit price, control entities to be determined by sector and threshold will participate. The department will supervise the system, prepare allocation plans not exceeding 5 years, and announce allocation plans 1 year before the period starts. Entities must return right to the department within 5 months from the end of each operating year and can use carbon credits to offset greenhouse gas emission rights. The trading of rights can be done through trading center or direct trading. The section 9 talk about the carbon cross-border carbon adjustment mechanism or CBAM. This mechanism aims to deal with carbon leakage and greenhouse gas emission from the production of imported goods. It involves supervising the mechanism, requiring registration and reporting of greenhouse gas emission of the imported goods, payment and concession for carbon price adjustment certificate. Dealing with the importation of goods and providing for appeals. This will also involve collecting taxes from producers and importers of specific products. The section 10 is carbon tax. The aim of this section is to reduce the greenhouse gas emission by taxing high emitting goods, starting with oil and petroleum products, based on the estimate amount of greenhouse gases. The plan is to deduct around 10% as income for local administrative organizations. According to the Fiscal Discipline Act, Section 26, this tax will evolve in phases. Phase 1 is the current phase, excise tax on goods causing environmental pollution. Phase 2 is the after ministerial regulation, the excise tax will also cover greenhouse gas emission, and the phase 3 is after the climate change act enforcement. In addition to excise, for environmental pollution and greenhouse gas emission. Specific carbon tax will be implemented under it. This carbon tax can be used as carbon tax on the product based on the carbon footprint of the product of CFP across its life cycle, sourcing materials, production, distribution, use, and apply. And the Section 11 focuses on the carbon credit. The aim is to ensure that the management and use of carbon credits is credible and does not conflict with or contradict benefits or objectives of sustainable development of the country. Carbon credits that meet the criteria and qualification set by the committee that consider standards, project type, properties, project site, and also the carbon volume can be used for two main purposes under the Act. Offsetting carbon credit not more than 15% in the specific portion and characteristics against the greenhouse gas emission rates used for international purpose in Article 6.2 of the Paris Agreement, and also the Act established the credit management mechanism for supervision and registration. Carbon credit trading can be done through the trade centers in accordance with the relevant acts, or direct trading between buyers and sellers. The Section 12 is about the adaptation to climate change. The mandate that Thailand National Adaptation Plan need to align with the global goal on adaptation and establish individual targets and sectoral indicators for performance monitoring in collaboration with relevant agencies. This includes determining for global indicators and optional national level indicators that their country must monitor. And the Section 13 establishes the standard for the classification of economic activity on climate change and the environment. This is the crucial for guiding investment toward green activities. And also the last but not least is the Section 14 contain the penalty provision to prevent and deter any acts that violate enforcement measures. Penalty apply to offenses that cause low to high impact, such as failure to compel activity data or report data, reporting false data and concealing data, failure to return rights and incomplete returns, violating the department's announcement on report preparation, or causing oneself or other to receive unlawful allocation of rights. It includes both criminal penalties and pecuniary penalties, with the penalty being attachment to income going to the fund according to Category 4 more severe acts such as extraction, removal, concealment, or transfer of properties to either payment and consider that cause severe impact. And about the climate fund, the climate fund will serve as the financial mechanism that established within 2 years after the entry into force of the Climate Change Act. It is designed as a fund of funds with commercial banks acting as fund managers enabling both the provision of loans and direct grants. Revenue from the fund will be derived from multiple sources, including proceeds from carbon border adjustment mechanism or CBAM or emission trading scheme or ETS, Article 6.2 mechanism of the Paris Agreement, government subsidies, donations, and legal penalties. Initial capitalization of the approximately around 200 to 300 million baht will be provided to the Ministry of Finance with revenues from these sources expected to flow into the fund on a regular basis thereafter. Expenditure of the fund will cover data system development, greenhouse gas mitigation, climate adaptation, research, and capacity building across the fund will not be limited to the government agency, but will also extend to academic institutions, register environmental organization, local community, and the private sector, especially on small and medium-sized enterprise or SME, which will be able to directly seek financial support. The climate fund is inspired for the international model such as the Green Climate Fund or GCF, Adaptation Fund, and also Loss and Management, which are recognized by for transparent management, robust monitoring system, and meaningful private sector participation. Thailand aims to adapt these practices to the national context in order to enhance credibility and attract both domestic and international investment. And I think this is the final part of my presentation. Let's take a look at the next step in Thailand's climate action journey. This figure outline the key action required to advance the development and implementation of Thailand NDC 3.0. The process centers on integrating climate adaptation and mitigation efforts, supported by robust data, inclusive participation, and enabling frameworks. Key steps include preparing climate risk data, mainstreaming adaptation plan into sectoral and area-based plan, and driving the greenhouse gas emission reduction action plan or NDC action plan. In parallel, efforts focus on strengthening stakeholder engagement across all sectors, accelerating the enactment of the Climate Change Act, developing a national research framework, mobilizing investment to support the NDC 3.0 implementation, and enhancing the institutional capacity to access international sources for the climate fund, climate finance. Together, these actions form coordinated pathway to achieve Thailand enhanced climate condition under the NDC 3.0 and also the long-term strategy. And next, Thailand is currently in the process of developing and implementing the guideline for promoting and monitoring green area expansion under the LULUCF sector. Ongoing efforts focus on formulating a carbon sink roadmap in collaboration with the relevant agencies, strengthening interagency coordination and establishing institutional arrangement for reporting and monitoring. In parallel, technical system for tracking green area expansion such as satellite-based analysis and the development of AI or ML-based platform for the land use classification are under the development. This initiative aims to enhance the accuracy, continuity, and cost effectiveness of monitoring green areas and carbon sinks, while supporting future reporting under the National Greenhouse Gas Inventory and also the NDC implementation framework. And the next one I will talk about the currently undertaking the revision of our long-term development, long-term low emission development strategy or LT-LEAD as the part of pathway toward achieving the net zero greenhouse gas emission target by 2050. The revision process focuses on the updating the strategic approach for implementing mitigation measures and technology across key phases. The transition phase is start from 2025 to 2035, and the acceleration phase is start from 2036 to 2045. And the achievement phase is 5 years later, 2046 to 2050. Ongoing work includes analysis of the current climate policy landscape and implementation trends, assessment of the greenhouse gas emission projections, and preliminary net zero pathway, using integrated model tools and structured consultations with relevant agency and stakeholder across key sectors. Public consultation also being organized to ensure inclusiveness and transparency in the revision process. The outcome of this process will inform the refinement of Thailand's long-term decarbonization pathway and strengthen alignment with national development priority and international climate commitment. And last but not least, the transition to a sustainable and low carbon economy and social system requires a multi-faceted approach involving the government and private sector. The government role to collect fee and other charges in proportion to greenhouse gas emission, for example, carbon tax or ETS, and support investment to transition to a low carbon economy through various means like subsidy, green loans, venture capital, and tax cuts. This is include investment in machinery and equipment, that that emit greenhouse gases, clean energy, green transportation, green waste management, sustainable agriculture, and research and development. It's also involved managing greenhouse gas information. For the economic measures, this measure and instrument should be integrated from and operate throughout the entire chain of important economic activities to simultaneously conserve the environment, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, create economic activities, and distribute income. They also address the return of the subsidy to low-income earners who are highly affected or vulnerable people. and the climate aligned budget. Note that Thailand should have a framework for state budget allocation that takes into account climate change action as well. And the adaptation, adapting to immunity, including to nature-based solution or India. Also, yes, the last slide. This is yeah, this is I think this that's all my for my presentation. Repeat, feel free to send me for some question, or you have any question or comment, you can raise your hand.
สวัสดีค่ะค่ะอาจารย์สาธิตนะคะ for our student those who like to have any question probably you may type something in the chat box or you can turn on the microphone and ask.
I got one question. What is IPU in NDC tracking progress in 2023? For the IPPU, the measures that I mentioned in the NDC action plan is about the cement industry and also the refrigerants. For the I think you asked this question. I'm not sure what does it mean in this question, or you would like to know the measures that we implement in our NDC action plan, isn't it?
No, it's just that, sorry, if I may ask, I'm the person who asked the question. There are lots of acronyms on the slides, and for us, for somebody outside, it can be confusing. So IPPU, it's something to do with industry, but I don't know what the PPU means. So, because I'd like to know what the term is rather than the policy. Thank you.
All right. For the IPPU in our NDC action plan, industrial process and product use, we classify the sector in our NDC action plan as the IPPU guideline. IPCC guideline. So the activity in IPPU is just only the process and product use, not related to the energy use.
Thank you.
Anyone like to have more question? And actually, if you cannot think of any question, and I think our guest speaker, Director Chanutsakul, could actually she provides some email address, and you may write her an email if you like to learn or understand more. I understand that is in terms of climate change policy and planning. So a lot of the definition, acronym, and whatsoever, and a lot of abbreviation as well. So that's why sometimes it pretty hard to understand too.
Any question or comments? Thank you.
A lot of information to take stock of. I agree.
That I agree. There's a lot and a lot of information to take in, but it's very useful, and it gives a perspective of the Thailand government's NDC and how you're doing things. But it's a lot. Yeah, thank you.
If nobody has any questions, so I would like to take this opportunity to thank you, our Director Chanutsakul from the Department of Climate Change and Environment. So, and after this, probably I would like to have a discussion with you guys related to the quiz and probably the record of the online class that I think someone requested ค่ะขอบคุณทางผอมากนะคะค่ะ ก็เดี๋ยวตรงนี้ก็คือเดี๋ยวจะตอบมีประเด็นที่ค้างคากับเขาไว้เมื่อวันศุกร์นิดหน่อยค่ะเรื่องของการบ้านเรื่องของอะไรอย่างเงี้ยค่ะเดี๋ยวขออนุญาตใช้เวลาที่เหลือของผอนะคะค่ะขอบคุณมากค่ะค่ะ
คอมเมนต์หรือมีคำถามเพิ่มเติมก็ส่งมาได้
ได้ค่ะค่ะเดี๋ยวน้องเจนเขาช่วยประสานผอให้นะคะค่ะขอบคุณมากค่ะค่ะสวัสดีค่ะ Yes, please don't leave yet. So on Friday we talking about that someone cannot access to the quiz and also the pre-test. I was so sorry about that because we have some of the chain of the share folder and things like that. So everything inside the share folder so have been limited to only our staff account. But now I have already provided the link. You may get into the share drive and the file is more like maybe I share the folder to you so you could see that. Hang on. Oh, I share to you. I couldn't find my folder. Hang on.
I can open the link for the
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
cannot open. Yeah.
yeah. That's why I fixed it now. And can you access to our share drive that you use to download the presentation file? That's one. And I shared it. This the folder that I share to you guys, and you will have some of the file names, something like Silviculture course quiz. Inside that file, you could see the link for the pre-test and also the quiz on the 27. This is the new link that I provide because, like I mentioned before, because some problem last time. I think you just get into our share drive that the link that you normally get that you normally download your presentation. This is, and I think probably Jane could also provide you this file in through the email as well.
Dr. Sabit,
Yes.
I can see the links now, and the quiz one, I opened it, but it says that quiz January 27 and quiz January 26 pretest. Do you want us to do it now, or what's the plan?
Oh, this is just to tell you that is more like a collect for your score. You don't have to do it now. You could do it later, and this is part of your score, part of the evaluation. That's all.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think I will ask Jane to email to all of us about this, and there is also the other link that is I couldn't find that one. I will provide you the link for the record record of the online class, just in case that someone might miss some classes. Okay,
Sorry, ma'am.
yes.
I completed the pre-step and quiz step before. I don't need to do it again, right?
No, you don't have to do it again.
Yes.
Because the other day on Friday, someone just asked whether they like to do the pre-test. So I think if they like to do it, so I provide it. But for those who have done it already, you don't need to do it again.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay, I think that's it. I also provide in the share drive. I also provide the link to access the record class, so you could find in your share drive as well. Just in case that you like to come back and work on some of specific issue that you like to understand more. Okay. And that's it. Is today's class, and for tomorrow, tomorrow we have the Professor Ho Sang-rang from Seoul National University. He would provide us some of his experience, because he has been doing quite a lot of work related to climate change collaboration in Southeast Asia. So probably he could provide some of example of the project that he has been doing in this region as an example for you guys. Okay, for today, that's it. Is there any our staff Jane provide the link to, and every link in there also. Okay. Thank you very much, and I will see you again tomorrow at 3 p.m. Bangkok time. Goodbye.
Thank you.